The voters have spoken loud and clear in Maharashtra, in Jharkhand, in Uttar Pradesh and in Wayanad. And it's a very clear mandate from the voters of India to the leaders of India. A spectacular victory for the BJP-led Mahayuti in Maharashtra, leading in 231 of 288 seats. A spectacular victory for JMM-led India bloc in Jharkhand, for the BJP winning 7 of 9 seats in Uttar Pradesh, and for Priyanka Gandhi Bhadra in Wayanad in Kerala of the Congress Party. I'll get you all details over the course of the next 1 hour. I'm Gaurav Sawant as always. And after the Mahayuti spectacular victory in Maharashtra, the biggest question is, who would be the next Chief Minister of Maharashtra? Will the Chief Minister be from the BJP or the Shiv Sena or the NCP of Ajit Pawar? Now, sources are telling India Today, and we have this exclusively here on India Today, Eknath Shinde camp has claimed that Eknath Shinde should return as the Chief Minister of Maharashtra, and his party insists his claim is based on the leadership, on the decisive leadership he provided to the Mahayuti after the drubbing in Lok Sabha elections. The turnaround that the Mahayuti made between the Lok Sabha election results and the assembly polls. In the last few months, discussions have happened and several discussions have taken place with the BJP leadership, is what the Shiv Sena Eknath Shinde faction tell India Today. They've had a series of meetings with BJP leaders even before elections, and their impression is that Eknath Shinde should and will continue as the Chief Minister even after this decisive mandate in favor of the BJP, alone getting or leading in 133 of 288 seats. Eknath Shinde will continue as the Chief Minister. This is their perception. He claimed that the Ladki Bahin was actually his brainchild, and that is why he should remain the Chief Minister to ensure that the implementation of this scheme takes place as effectively. So big story that's coming in. Of course, this is source-based information that's coming in from the Shiv Sena Eknath Shinde camp. Though Devendra Fadnavis, of course, had made it very clear that all three parties will sit together. Then this was the decision that had been taken and announced by Union Home Minister Amit Shah, that once election results are announced, all three parties will elect their respective party leaders. They will hold their consultations and then come forward with who the Chief Minister, their Chief Ministerial candidate should be, and then a decision will be taken. But I quickly want to cut across to India Today's Mosmi Singh, now joining us with the latest on this big story. Mosmi, what are you picking up? What's the buzz on ground in the Shiv Sena camp, the Eknath Shinde camp?
Gaurav, clearly, with the Mahayuti leaders doing a joint press conference and saying that we will deliberate and discuss amongst ourselves, sources do tell us that Shinde has also claimed for CM-ship. Now, this is a very prestigious post, and naturally, him being the incumbent Chief Minister, he is saying that the claim is based on the fact that after Lok Sabha elections and the results that had come, the entire turnaround was scripted by him, and he said that he was the face of the government. In the last few months, discussions had happened with the BJP High Command as well, and there was assurance that was given to him that he will continue remaining the Chief Minister of the Mahayuti government, and so even after this particular mandate where BJP has done exceedingly well, the Shiv Sena camp says that Eknath Shinde is taking claims that he truly deserves this post.
What about the Bharatiya Janata Party, where Devendra Fadnavis is seen as someone who was the architect of this victory? And we just heard Devendra Fadnavis just a short while back when he said, इस महाभारत का मैं अभिमन्यु हूँ, मैं चक्रव्यूह को भेदना भी जानता हूँ और मॉडर्न डे महाभारत में उससे निकलना भी जानता हूँ. So he is drawing a parallel with one, the Mahabharata, two, the Chakravyuh, taking on many powerful leaders and yet emerging victorious. So is the BJP on the same page that it would be Devendra Fadnavis for the BJP, or are they also thinking of a different name and face?
That's right, Gaurav, and it's been a turnaround of sorts for the BJP as well after Devendra Fadnavis had lost the CM post and he had to give away to the other regional satraps. The kind of performance that the BJP has registered, he remains the tallest leader, one of the tallest leaders in the landscape of the BJP in Maharashtra. And clearly you could see he was all smiles today, but he really knows the protocols of his party. And thereby, there will be serious deliberations as far as, his name is concerned. And as far
stay with me. There's more breaking news coming in. Mosmi, stay with me. There's more breaking news coming in. We're getting the first reaction from Aditya Thackeray after his victory from the Varli seat, but also speaking on the defeat of the Mahavikas Agadi. Aditya Thackeray, after his victory, of course, says on the Mahavikas Agadi defeat that it's the EVM tampering that needs to be looked into very closely. I don't know if people have voted or if EVMs have voted or words to that effect. Maharashtra results are very surprising. We got a good response during Lok Sabha. We need to see what changed. Listen in to Aditya Thackeray. I'll bring Mosmi Singh once again into this conversation.
की ह्याच्यात महाराष्ट्राने मतदान केले की ईव्हीएमने केले
विजय
हा एक मोठा प्रश्न आहेच पण त्या सगळ्यावर मला वाटतं नंतर आम्ही चर्चा करूच आता जे आहे ते आता जो निकालाचा एक आढावा घेतोय त्याच्यानंतर आम्ही बोलू एक नक्की आहे की ह्याच्यात महाराष्ट्राने मतदान केले की ईव्हीएमने केले
विजय
हा एक मोठा प्रश्न आहेच पण त्या सगळ्यावर मला वाटतं नंतर आम्ही चर्चा करूच आता जे आहे ते आता जो निकालाचा एक आढावा घेतोय त्याच्यानंतर आम्ही बोलू
Has Maharashtra voted? Have the people voted or has the EVM voted? It's a big question. We will discuss this. We will consider what led to this. We got a good response during Lok Sabha elections. The current results are very, very surprising. I once again want to bring in Mosmi Singh into this conversation. Mosmi, okay, we'll get Mosmi in just a moment because the big question here remains. Aditya Thackeray has won. He won with a margin of 8,000 votes in Varli. He defeated Milind Deora in these elections. So was the EVM working there or was the EVM not working there? Is the question that the BJP has constantly raised. Was the EVM working in Jharkhand where the JMM and Congress have done so well? Or was the EVM tampered even in Jharkhand? In Priyanka Gandhi's victory in Wayanad, was the EVM working or not working? So Aditya Thackeray has reiterated the EVM tampering charge, and I want to bring Mosmi into this all over again. Mosmi, you heard Aditya Thackeray talking about was the EVM voting or were people of Maharashtra voting? But whether it's Eknath Shinde or Devendra Fadnavis or even Ajit Pawar, they've all responded to this question of EVM.
That's right, and the leaders did say, the Mahayuti leaders said that what about the EVM in Jharkhand, what about the EVM in Himachal or in Karnataka or in Telangana for that matter. So clearly, we saw as early as around 10:30 Sanjay Raut slamming the election commission, slamming the match fixing, saying that how could Eknath Shinde win above 50 seats, and so there was some foul play. But clearly, the India allies, including the Congress, will have to come clean on this one if they are making these serious allegations of the EVM time and again. They've gone to the Election Commission of India. Even as far as Haryana is concerned, they complained about 12 constituencies, and said they'll give a list of more constituencies that were tampered with. But really that battle has not gone very far and is not stuck. And the ECI has rubbished all those charges, Gaurav.
It indeed has. And are these EVM working in Wayanad, in Jharkhand, as you very correctly pointed out, in Karnataka and in other states where the opposition have their government? But I want to also now take you through details of that 99% battery charge EVMs that is now being leveled. After Mahavikas Agadi's big EVM charge, the Mahayuti has actually hit back at the Mahavikas Agadi. So just a short while back, after Swara Bhaskar's husband lost elections, she said that there are a certain number of EVMs which have 99% battery charge. And those that have 99% battery charge results in the opponent getting double or sometimes 3 times the number of votes as, Fahad Ahmed, her husband. But Mahayuti registered a landslide victory in these elections. MVA has cried foul alleging EVM tampering. Eknath Shinde, the Chief Minister of Maharashtra, he slammed the opposition for blaming the EVMs. He actually mocked the opposition. Devendra Fadnavis said EVMs are rigged in Maharashtra, but they're working perfectly well in Jharkhand. The election commission was corrupt in Maharashtra, but the same election commission was perfect in Jharkhand. Ajit Pawar too accused the Mahavikas Agadi of playing this blame game instead of doing an honest introspection or gracefully accepting the verdict of the voters. Shiv Sena, Uddhav Thackeray faction leader and member of parliament Sanjay Raut said he does not believe these election results. He's accused the Mahayuti of stealing this election, of stealing seats with the help of Gautam Adani's support.
ईवीएम का देखो, अभी झारखंड में ईवीएम अच्छा है क्या? झारखंड में, कर्नाटक में ईवीएम अच्छा था। जब भी अभी वो लोग पहले जब जीतने के बाद बोलते ईवीएम अच्छा है, इलेक्शन कमिश्नर अच्छा है, वो लोग तो सुप्रीम कोर्ट तक तो उनको सलाह मशवरा देते हैं उनको। वो जो यंत्रणा उनके बाजू से, मतलब उनके फेवर में रिजल्ट आते अच्छी है। अभी तो वोटर लिस्ट पे भी उन्होंने ऑब्जेक्शन लिया था। तो जब हार जाते हैं तो बोलते ये यंत्रणा खराब है, जितते तो बोलते अच्छा है।
आम्हाला ते माहितीच होतं, जर झारखंडमध्ये झारखंड मुक्ती मोर्चा जिंकला तर तिथलं ईव्हीएम टॅम्पर प्रूफ, परफेक्ट, एकदम जनमताचा कौल, लोकशाहीचा विजय। आणि महाराष्ट्रामध्ये हे धाराशाही झाल्याबरोबर लोकशाही खतऱ्यात आलेली आहे, ईव्हीएम प्रॉब्लेम मध्ये आहे, ईव्हीएम टॅम्पर झालेला आहे। मला असं वाटतं की कुठेतरी अशा परिस्थितीमध्ये आत्मचिंतन केलं पाहिजे।
आता विरोधक टीका करतात की बाबा बॅलेट पेपरनी घ्यायला पाहिजे होतं, मग बॅलेट पेपरने लोकसभेला पण घ्यायला पाहिजे होतं। लोकसभेचा निकाल लागला की तो बरोबर, आणि इथला निकाल लागला की बॅलेट पेपर यायला पाहिजे, मग मशीन काय ईव्हीएम बरोबर नाही, असं नाही चालत। आता झारखंड पण आमच्या हातनं गेलंच ना, आम्ही कुठं काय म्हणतो।
जो नतीजे सामने आए उसका ऊपर में विश्वास रखने को तैयार नहीं, ये जनता का फैसला मानने को तैयार नहीं। हमने महाराष्ट्र की जनता का जो मन है, हमें मालूम था किस दिशा में जा रहा है। लेकिन 2 दिन पहले गौतम अडानी के खिलाफ एक वारंट निकला, अरेस्ट वारंट, बहुत बड़ा भ्रष्टाचार का आरोप हो गया। उसका ऊपर से ध्यान हटाने के लिए ये पूरा एक कपट कारस्तान हो गया है और उसकी तैयारी पहले से चल रही थी। हमने ये महाराष्ट्र जो गौतम अडानी के जेब में जा रहा है, मुंबई जेब में जा रहे हैं, हमने विरोध किया। ये अडानी राष्ट्र नहीं होने देंगे, तो इसके लिए इस प्रकार के नतीजे महाराष्ट्र के ऊपर लाद गए हैं। ये जनता का कौल हो ही नहीं सकता। महाराष्ट्र की जनता का मन हमें मालूम है, ये हो ही नहीं सकता है।
पहली बार नहीं उठ रहा है, बार बार उठता जा रहा है कि क्या ईवीएम पे भी व्यापक चर्चा होनी चाहिए, स्टेक होल्डर से बात करनी चाहिए। इलेक्शन कमीशन उसको सीधे सीधे खारिज कर देता है, रादर देन विनिंग ओवर द कॉन्फिडेंस ऑफ द पीपल। कितनी महाराष्ट्र में कितनी जगहों पर मैं गई थी वहां पे लोग आकर हमसे कहते थे वोट तो हम आपको देंगे ही, पर आप ईवीएम पर ध्यान दीजिएगा। सबने हमसे यही आकर कहते थे। तो ये क्योंकि इतना चेंज आया है फ्रॉम लोकसभा टू महाराष्ट्र का ये विधानसभा चुनाव, हैरान करने वाला है। और इस पे मैं मानती हूं कि इवन फॉर मी मेंटली इट्स क्वाइट अनएक्सेप्टेबल कि इतना हमने आक्रोश देखकर भी वोट में कन्वर्ट नहीं हुआ, इस तरीके के नतीजे आए हैं। एक प्रश्न चिन्ह उठाता है कि क्या ये सही मायने में फ्री एंड फेयर इलेक्शन था।
जैसा कि आप इलेक्शन कमीशन की वेबसाइट पे देख रहे थे, मैं लगातार जो है आगे चल रहा था, यहाँ तक कि 17वें राउंड तक जो है मैं आगे चल रहा था और कुल राउंड जो थे वो 19 थे। और फिर एक मिस्ट्री चालू होती है कि जो ईवीएम सुबह वोटिंग के दिन सुबह 7 बजे से लेके शाम को 6 बजे तक चली थी, उनकी 99% बैटरी निकलती है। और वो 99% बैटरी जहाँ जहाँ निकलती है उसमें मेरी जो सामने वाली उम्मीदवार हैं सना मलिक जी, जो सुबह से यहाँ नहीं आई थी, शायद उनको अंदाजा था, हम लोग यहाँ 5:30 बजे आ गए थे, लेकिन वो अब तक यहाँ नहीं आई थी, शायद उनको अंदाजा था। लेकिन जिस तरह की शायद महाराष्ट्र के अंदर जिस तरह की भी चीज़ें चल रही थी, उस घटना के बाद जो रुख महाराष्ट्र की राजनीति में हो रहा था, 99% की जो ईवीएम निकल रही थी उसमें मेरे से उनको डबल वोट मिल रहा था। और बूथ पे वो मुझसे पीछे चल रही हैं, लेकिन जैसे ही कोई भी ईवीएम खुलती है जिसमें 99% बैटरी है, उस ईवीएम को कहीं ना कहीं किसी ना किसी तरीके से उसमें डबल ट्रिपल का मार्जिन सना मलिक जी लेके चल रही हैं।
Certainly, I think all the analysts in the whole of India, I don't know what is the mechanism why we have lost so much. The reason is, even in MP, when you see Madhya Pradesh, the ruling government has got 8% of increase of vote share. It is surprising. Even if Congress gets, I would like to know what is the reason. I'm not trying to, straight away blame, but always I'm trying to put there is a doubt, element of doubt. The reason is, could be there is a chance of tampering. The reason is, in the parliament election, same Modi ji comes and he does not get some mandate there. After 6 months, the same ruling government, which definitely runs with an anti-incumbency, does get so much huge of majority, is always a question mark. Even if Congress would have won, there has to be reasoning why it has won with such thumping majority.
ईवीएम पर विस्तृत चर्चा होनी चाहिए, व्यापक चर्चा होनी चाहिए, लेकिन वो दिन आज का दिन नहीं है। मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि एक चुनाव का परिणाम अच्छा नहीं आया है, हमारे लिए बहुत बड़ा सबक है इसमें, ये डिसअपॉइंटिंग है। हम ईवीएम पर जरूर व्यापक चर्चा करना चाहते हैं। हम जिस तरह से महाराष्ट्र का चुनाव टाला गया, महायुति को वक्त मिला अपनी स्कीम लॉन्च करने का, 3-3 इंस्टॉलमेंट्स गए, वो सारे फैक्टर्स हैं। लेकिन डिसअपॉइंटिंग बात यह है कि हमारे वो नंबर्स नहीं है जिसकी हमें आशा थी।
And actor Swara Bhaskar, she too blamed the EVM for her husband, NCP, the Sharad Pawar faction candidate Fahad Ahmed, losing in the Anushakti Nagar constituency in Maharashtra. She spoke just a short while back to India Today on why she felt that the EVM, according to her, is not above board. Listen in.
Swara Bhaskar is alleging that in the seat that her husband was fighting in Anushakti Nagar, where he's lost to Sana Malik, the allegation is that there was some tampering with the EVMs, or the EVMs weren't working well. Swara Bhaskar is now live with us. She was at a counting center just a moment ago when we connected. So Swara, can you explain the reasons behind you leveling this very serious charge?
Yeah, so we, as I think was reported in the media as well, and was on the Election Commission website, that Fahad has been leading in almost every round except maybe round 3 and 4 or 4 and 5. Barring that, he was leading right up to the 16th round. And even in the rounds where the margin of lead was reducing, the number of votes that both Sanaji and Fahad were getting were like about the same. From the 17th, in the last 3 rounds, which is 17, 18, and 19, this is not my allegation, Rahul. This is the allegation of the counting agents who were inside the booth, who towards the last round started basically questioning the fact that many of the EVMs that were actually most of the EVMs in those rounds were 99% charged. And and the question that they raised was that how can EVMs that have been used throughout the day on the day of polling be 99% charged? Like, how can they have barely been used? And those are the last 3 rounds, the EVMs. Those are the places where the pattern is quite unusual, right? So, I mean, you're an analyst. So where there is a pattern of a steady lead, and even where the lead is dropping or reducing, the number of votes polled for both candidates are almost the same. How can in the last 3 rounds suddenly, there be such a huge jump? So then the EVM be 99% charged. So those were the 2 sort of things that they found fishy, the counting agents. And now I think that they have made a demand and an application for a recounting and a matching of VVPAT slips to the machines that have allegedly been.
So what have the agents you spoke to at the counting center, Swara, told you? Are they willing to consider these charges and investigate them?
So when I'm not there anymore, but at the last moment they were willing to first They said they'll go step by step, that at first they will match the VVPAT slips to the machines upon which objections have been raised. And after that, if those slips are indeed found that there is a problem, then they will order a recounting of the last three rounds, or whichever rounds that are.
One of the most stunning results of this election in Maharashtra for the Shiv Sena has been the number of seats won by Shiv Sena Uddhav Thackeray faction. They've won or are leading, as the latest information tells you, in 21 seats. Compare that to Eknath Shinde's Shiv Sena, which has won or leading in 54 seats. Of course, when you talk about the Bharatiya Janata Party on its own has won or is leading is 133 of 288 seats. But what does this mean for Uddhav Thackeray? And this is one question that was repeatedly raised throughout this election. Who is the real inheritor of Hindu Hriday Samrat Balasaheb Thackeray's legacy? And this has effectively been answered, according to both Devendra Fadnavis and Eknath Shinde, by the voters of Maharashtra. But what does this mean for Uddhav Thackeray and his faction of the Shiv Sena? We get you more in this report.
The loyal deputy has now come of his own. It was in 2022 that Eknath Shinde dumped Uddhav, citing an insult to the legacy of Balasaheb Thackeray. And since then, there's been a bitter battle over who is the real Sena and who is the real claimant of the Thackeray legacy. The voters have taken their pick. Eknath Shinde has trumped Uddhav, and how? Uddhav, banking heavily on his surname, has lost the poll battle, and with it, the legacy battle. In the 38 seats that Shinde Sena and Uddhav Sena squared off in, the Shinde camp has a strike rate of over 65%.
In the Sena versus Sena contest, there were 38 seats where it's 1 and 2, Sena versus UBT, right? 26 of those have gone in favor of Eknath Shinde. 12 of them have gone in favor of Uddhav Balasaheb Thackeray.
Eknath Shinde has decisively won the Sena versus Sena battle, even expanding his footprint from beyond Thane and into Mumbai.
मैंने कहा था कि महायुति को थम्पिंग मेजॉरिटी मिलेगी और इसीलिए मैं तमाम मतदाता जो है, मेरी लाडली बहनाओं को मैं धन्यवाद देता हूं, लाडले किसानों को मैं धन्यवाद देता हूं और लाडले हमारे भाई हैं, लाडले सीनियर सिटीजन हैं, सभी वर्ग जो है, सभी वर्ग को मैं धन्यवाद देता हूं.
The Mahayuti, celebrating their sweep, has reiterated that the real Sena battle has been settled.
मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि एक प्रकार से लोगों ने अपना मैंडेट दे दिया. लोगों ने एकनाथ शिंदे जी को रियल शिवसेना के रूप में स्वीकार कर लिया है. बाला साहब ठाकरे की हिंदू हृदय सम्राट शिवसेना प्रमुख बाला साहब ठाकरे की जो शिवसेना है, उसकी लेजिटिमेसी ये एकनाथ शिंदे जी को मिली है और जो मूल एनसीपी है उसकी लेजिटिमेसी अजीत पवार जी को मिली.
Uddhav Thackeray, whose party has managed to win just about 20 seats, faces the biggest crisis now of his political career. The Uddhav Sena right now is sulking, even calling the results illegal.
ऐसा है कि हर चुनाव क्षेत्र में नोटों की मशीन लगाई थी. अरे शिंदे का एक भी उम्मीदवार सिटिंग एमएलए गिरता नहीं और शिंदे ये बोल रहे थे हमारा एक भी सिटिंग विधायक गिरेगा नहीं. आपको मालूम होगा तो मैं इस्तीफा दूंगा. ऐसा होता है क्या चुनाव में कभी? हमारा एक भी नहीं गिरेगा. ये कौन सा भरोसा है? ये कौन सी है ये कौन सा लोकतंत्र है? 200 के ऊपर किसी को चुनाव में नतीजे मिलते हैं क्या? जिस देश में, जिस राज्य में सबसे बड़ी बेईमानी हो गई है, इस राज्य की जनता बेईमान नहीं है।
Shinde Sena by itself at the same number of seats as the entire India alliance put together. What do you think went so dramatically wrong in this election, ma'am?
To be very honest, I don't really know. And I won't be able to give you answers because I wasn't mentally prepared to come on television channels accepting this kind of a defeat. And again, I'm just hoping something would turn around simply because we saw that it was a very close fight. What we saw on ground was a lot of anger against the government. What we saw was tremendous amount of support coming from the people. All the surveys across the state showed that Uddhav ji was amongst the most popular, and the votes don't seem to be matching up to the sentiment that we were seeing on ground. So right now, I don't have an answer to this particular question as to what really did not work for us. But again, it does raise questions on, when we are gauging the mood of the people, when we are seeing different surveys and outcomes coming out to be totally different. What really went wrong is something for everyone to speculate.
The Thackeray legacy battle has been settled for now, as has the battle over who is the real Shiv Sena. Bureau Report, India Today.
And Union Home Minister Amit Shah, he's hailed the Mahayuti on its spectacular win, on its landslide win. Amit Shah took to social media platform X to say the victory of the Mahayuti is the victory of the double-engine government's politics of performance led by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The people of Maharashtra have rejected the politics of appeasement and have once again expressed their faith in the legacy, development and welfare of the poor, followed by the Mahayuti. I heartily congratulate all the workers of the BJP, Maharashtra BJP, National President JP Nadda, Chief Minister Eknath Shinde, Deputy Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis and Ajit Pawar for this grand victory. The BJP is planning a massive celebration in the national capital, in the BJP headquarters. But when you look at the numbers, and since we were talking about the Sena on its own, so Shiv Sena, Uddhav Thackeray at 21 is less than half of what Shiv Sena, Eknath Shinde has 54. In fact, Shiv Sena, Eknath Shinde has more than the entire Mahavikas Agadi put together at 51. And I quickly want to cut across to India Today's Aishwarya Paliwal joining us from the BJP headquarters. Aishwarya, the BJP has reason to celebrate, not just because of the Mahayuti's spectacular victory, the first time ever that Indian alliance has crossed 200, but the BJP's own performance at 132. Better than what they'd expected, Aishwarya. What's planned later this evening?
Well, let me tell you, the Prime Minister, Gaurav, will be here and he'll be speaking with the supporters and will also fuse them with new enthusiasm, building it up for the next big election that will take place in the national capital. Now, let me tell you, in Feb, that's the month when we will see the Delhi elections taking place. The BJP now will go full swing for Delhi elections, and this is a victory that now they will remember. The supporters, let me tell you, Gaurav, have started arriving in large numbers. Prime Minister, we are expecting him to be present here in almost half an hour from now. आप जहां से आए हैं वहां ये बताइए कि कितना उत्साह है और आप ये जो पूरा वस्त्र पहन के आए हैं मोदी जी के स्वागत के लिए आए?
मैं यहाँ 150वां सभा के लिए आया हूँ। मेरे श्री राम रूपी माननीय प्रधानमंत्री की भारत में जहाँ जहाँ सभा होती है मैं इसी रूप में सभा का साक्षी बनने के लिए आगे आ जाता हूँ। आज गरीबों के मसीहा, दलितों के मसीहा, आज ओबीसी के मसीहा, आज आदिवासी के मसीहा, सबका साथ, सबका विकास, सबका विश्वास और सबके प्रयास की पद्धति पर ये गरीब घर में जन्म लेने वाले माननीय प्रधानमंत्री योजना दर योजना लाकर गरीबों को जो लाभान्वित किए हैं वो आज दिख रहा है। भारत एक विकासशील जो था वो विकसित के पथ पर अग्रसर है और पूरे दुनिया देख रहा है। जहां मोदी जाएंगे वहां काम भी होगा, वहां नाम भी होगा। और उत्साह पूर्वक आज जो है महाराष्ट्र में जो जनता ने 4 बार के एनडीए को वोट दिया है वो आज दिख रहा है।
दिख रहा है. So, Gaurav, these are the kind of supporters who have come here and who believe that it is Prime Minister Narendra Modi. This is just the beginning of the victory streak. That is what the supporters believe. Now, the victory sign you will be able to see. The stage that you are seeing right behind me, Gaurav, that's the place where Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be coming. Supporters in large numbers. The one color which you can see here abundantly is the saffron color. In fact, people have now also come and they are pressing the BJP. So, these are people who have come here, the supporters of Prime Minister Narendra Modi and of Bharatiya Janata Party. All of them showing the enthusiasm that they have.
Aishwarya, you've been covering the elections in Haryana and in Maharashtra very closely. What turned it around after the Lok Sabha, when the BJP stalled at 240 on its own? Of course, NDA, the Prime Minister was able to return to power for a historic third term. But how did BJP turn it around? Because everyone said BJP will lose Haryana, BJP will lose Maharashtra, and the BJP hasn't done well in Jharkhand at all. So these were three states the BJP was to lose. How did they manage to pull off a victory in 2 of 3? What was the inside story? What's the inside story?
Gaurav, let me tell you at least 2 things that the BJP did right after the Lok Sabha elections. First, ear to the ground, because the party realized that somewhere one of the things that they forgot to do was to keep the ear to the ground. So that's what they did in Haryana, and that's what they did massively in the state of Maharashtra. Let me also tell you, most of the top leaders have been visiting Maharashtra, and in fact some of them have been stayed in Mumbai over the past 2 to 3 months, making sure that they understand what was the pulse of the people. And with that, they also made sure that they dole out or give a lot of incentives to the women, because women voters, Gaurav, let me tell you, they have solidified the women voters and have also made sure that they give a lot of benefits that cut across caste lines, benefits that cut across everything else. And that's the reason why now we are seeing a consolidation taking place. Now also making sure that there is no infighting, because the BJP realized that the infighting was the plague that was in the opposition parties. So making sure that no infighting takes place, even though the BJP has some of the top leaders, they made sure that there is no infighting. The goal was very clear and everyone was working for that one goal, winning Maharashtra. Who will become the chief minister? That was question number 2. The question 1, and the hurdle was to win Maharashtra first.
Of course, the bigger challenge now for the BJP remains Delhi, a state it hasn't been able to come back to power after that onion debacle in 1998. It's never been able to return to power in Delhi. What's the strategy there? Will this victory spur them for Delhi?
Well, definitely, and Gaurav, let me tell you, even though there are close to 3 months for the big elections that will take place in the national capital, the BJP has already started working on it. They will not be repeating the mistakes that they did in Lok Sabha 2024 elections. And you asked me, what is that one thing, keeping ear to the ground? The second thing is that you cannot be lax for any of the elections, because the Charso Par slogan was something that the BJP thought would work in their favor. It did not do so. So now keeping ears to the ground and working in advance, that's something that will be the formula that will be followed by the BJP. And we'll see a repeat of the kind of work that we saw in Haryana and Maharashtra taking place even in the national capital.
Aishwarya, keep tracking that story. I will come back to you for more, because after Maharashtra, the most interesting election we'll be tracking very, very closely would be the elections in the national capital. But here, right now, the BJP won in Maharashtra, the Mahayuti won. It's the opposition that's crying foul over the electronic voting machines. And the Mahayuti is mocking the Mahavikas Agadi for raising the EVM question each time it loses elections and keeping quiet when they win elections. So Mahayuti secured this landslide victory. You're looking at the numbers on your television screen. 230 of 288 for the Mahayuti and 51 for the Mahavikas Agadi. The Mahavikas Agadi says this is just not possible. This is a result of EVM tampering. They're questioning the legitimacy of these results. The Mahavikas Agadi has leveled multiple allegations ranging from delaying elections, raising questions about the independence of the Election Commission, to alleged manipulation of the electronic voting machine. Shiv Sena, the Uddhav Thackeray faction, they claim that these results are, according to them, impossible and raise doubts whether the mandate came from either the voter or the EVM. That's what Aditya Thackeray said, even though he won from Worli. The Congress party has accused the BJP of transporting EVMs from Madhya Pradesh to Maharashtra. They say it's the Madhya Pradesh EVMs that give BJP the victory in Maharashtra. The NCP, This is the Sharad Pawar faction. At the Anushakti Nagar seat, the NCP SP candidate Fahad Ahmed, he alleged that the Ajit Pawar faction candidate Sana Malik, she surged ahead, suspiciously surged ahead after certain EVMs that he claimed had 99% charge were opened, and Sana Malik had doubled or tripled the advantage according to him. The Mahayuti, of course, has dismissed these allegations, accusing the opposition of blaming the EVM each time they lost. And Ajit Pawar said, with the same EVMs, the Mahavikas Agadi had performed spectacularly better during Lok Sabha elections, and that time they did not blame the EVMs for the defeat. Devendra Fadnavis said EVMs are rigged in Maharashtra but work perfectly fine in Jharkhand, where the India bloc candidates have won. Lots of reactions coming in. Listen in.
प्रधानमंत्री जी ने एक जो नारा दिया था, एक है तो सेफ है, सब समाज को साथ में लाने वाली जो बात प्रधानमंत्री जी ने कही थी, महाराष्ट्र के लोगों ने उसको रिस्पॉन्ड किया है और महाराष्ट्र के सभी समाजों ने एक साथ मिलकर एक बड़ा मैंडेट हमको दिया है। मुझे लगता है कि आज निश्चित रूप से जो लोग तुष्टीकरण की राजनीति करना चाहते थे, जो डिविजिव पॉलिटिक्स करना चाहते थे, उनको करारा जवाब जनता ने ही दिया है और प्रधानमंत्री जी की बात को लोगों ने यहाँ पर एक्सेप्ट किया है।
लोकांनी कल्याणाचं आणि विकासाचं राजकारण स्वीकारलं, लोकांनी सुडाचं, आरोपाचं, द्वेषाचं राजकारण झिडकारलं आणि म्हणून दोन निवडणुका ज्या लोकसभेमध्ये पण आणि लोकसभेत फेक नॅरेटिव्ह वगैरे सगळं केलं, काय काय केलं, संविधान बदलणार वगैरे सगळ्या जातीमध्ये भीती निर्माण केली, प्रत्येकाला घाबरवलं, तरी सुद्धा एवढं होऊन पण प्रधानमंत्रीपदी मोदी साहेबच बसले। जनता ने आज बता दिया है, असली नकली में मैं जाऊंगा नहीं, लेकिन बाला साहब ठाकरे जी की विचारधारा वाली जो शिवसेना है, शिवसेना भाजपा की गठबंधन वाली जो शिवसेना है, एक विचारधारा वाली शिवसेना आज लोगों ने तय कर लिया है। कौन है, मैंडेट दिया है लोगों ने। आज अभी तो मुझे लगता है वो तो अभी उनको तो हम कैसे रोकेंगे, वो तो और कुछ ना कुछ बोलते रहेंगे, लेकिन जनता की अदालत में जाने के बाद उनको भी दिखाया है और हमें भी दिखाया है।
अर्थसंकल्प सादर करत असताना आम्ही सरकारमध्ये तिघांनी मिळून काही योजना जाहीर केल्या, त्या योजना इतक्या पॉप्युलर झाल्या, त्याच्यामध्ये लाडकी बहिणा म्हणजे गेम चेंजरच ती योजना झाली। अंडर करंट असा का बहिणींनी दाखवला की मी सगळे उताने पडले, सगळे आडवे झाले।
Now, this election was as much about the hard work that was put by leaders and workers on ground as it was about their strategists working with their laptops behind the scenes. And now let's get to an interaction with two key men behind Ajit Dada Pawar and Eknath Shinde's campaign. Now, Showtime Consultancy's Robert Sharma and Design Box Naresh Arora, they spoke exclusively to India Today, explaining the reasons about this landslide victory, the spectacular first time ever, 200 plus for any coalition in these elections. How did they work towards it? We get you the inside story.
Was it the Ladki Bahin, in your view, that made the difference, particularly for Eknath Shinde winning the kind of strike rate that he has, or was there something else beyond that?
No, I think the entire credit and most of it goes to Ladki Bahin, but that worked in our favor. But apart from that, the Mahayuti alliance has been well prepared. Coordination was very smooth. The preparedness, the readiness was much better than Mahavikas Agadi, and there was no friction of sorts. For example, we campaigned for each other during the last 15 days, and Eknath Shinde ji, Devendra Fadnavis ji, and Ajit Dada, all three leaders have always coordinated well with each other, helped each other on each other's seats. We have always gone down to detailing of every seat. Wherever we needed each other's support, they have always helped. So I think that coordination, preparedness, and...
So tell us this, the last guy you worked with was Chandrababu Naidu. He has this CEO kind of avatar, very prompt and punctual. Now you're working with Eknath Shinde, who works till 4 a.m. in the morning, and oftentimes during the campaign, you are also up till late at night and therefore waking up late. What's the difference between working for Eknath Shinde and working for Chandrababu Naidu?
Both are very hard-working, but one major difference is that here, Maharashtra CM, he's he's a mass leader. I think he's one of the biggest mass leader that Maharashtra has ever seen. And he could be one of the biggest mass leader that country could ever see in next 5 to 10 years.
You know, he keeps Robin up at 3 in the morning. That's the big difference. You know, Chandrababu Naidu usually is an early riser. And so Robin's time clock has changed. With Chandrababu Naidu, he had to get up early. With Eknath Shinde, you had to sleep late. Am I correct? Broadly.
No, not even 3. 3 is the average. It's 4, 4:30, even 5:30. So, and he, you know, during, if you see it as an example, during election meetings, he used to do 7 to 8 election meetings in a day. Come back at 10:30, 11 in the night. Then he used to start interview. I'm sure, Rajdeep, you took interview at 4 a.m. in the morning.
4 a.m. Finished at 4:11.
Yeah. So he used to give interviews after he completes election meetings at 6 until 6 in the morning. Then 9:30 he gets up and goes for election meetings again. So that's how schedule was. So he worked really hard, and I think that's paying off.
I need to ask a question. Did you have some specific strategy for Sena versus Sena contest, or was it really the same for all the seats you contested?
I think for Sena versus Sena contest, one thing I can tell now that we utilized that confusion of CM face that they were having, Mahavikas Agadi, because the two factors that helped, I think. One is that Katengo Batenge was able to break certain core Uddhav Thackeray, Uddhav Sena votes in favor of us. Number two, the confusion of CM face, that Uddhav ji might not be the CM face and Congress will have a CM face, that also helped us in Sena versus Sena contest.
Were you expecting this result, 39 out of 59 odd seats, or is this even better? Because Sharad Pawar's faction is reduced to just 12. This is a complete turnaround from the Lok Sabha campaign where the strike rate was 1 out of 5. You know, the tables have completely turned in terms of which is the real NCP.
Well, of course, when Rajdeep and Rahul, both who you were in Maharashtra, we were discussing, and I was confident that we'll be touching somewhere around 35 to 40 seats. And to be honest, 40 was not the number we were looking at. We were aiming for, but yes, something around 35 we were confident that we will be achieving. And we were contesting 57 seats on our symbol, and out of that, we should be around 40.
What, according to you, changed between Lok Sabha and Vidhan Sabha? Quite apart from you joining hands with Ajit Pawar, I'm sure that had some impact. But what, according to you, was the major factor that changed between Lok Sabha and Vidhan Sabha so much?
See, apart from whatever the government schemes and the campaign and the projection, etc., there was one thing which Ajit Pawar had to understand about the change of his role from an administrator, which everyone vouches for him from opposition to the people who are in power. He had to take on the role of a vote getter as well. He was a person who was reluctant for media. He never used to speak to media. He was never going out for public meetings and the interactions that a vote getter should be doing or a party president should be doing. So first of all, it was the change required for him to understand that he has a bigger and a different role now. Once he understood that that is his role, of course, you could see everything changing on the ground, from Jan Samman Yatra to the adoring of the pink color and getting to the women folk fair to see that they connect with him, whatever he is wanting to communicate. And mind you, Rajdeep understands Marathi more than anyone else, that he is a very good orator as well. So that those oratory skills were not being utilized as the way they should have been for a leader who's wanting to have votes for his party in his name or on a symbol.
But why, may I ask you why pink? May I ask you why pink? And is it true that you asked him to smile more?
Well, Rahul asked the same question to me on the India Today conclave, but it's not that I have to ask him to smile more. It's just that he needs to speak to people more. And while speaking, of course, his original self does come out. And one other thing which I told that time also, that probably for 30 years that he's not been smiling or has not been seen smiling, probably that is why people notice it more.
And the biggest question right now is Maharashtra ka Mukhyamantri kaun? Who would be the next Chief Minister of Maharashtra? Will it be Eknath Shinde or will it be Devendra Fadnavis, or could there be a dark horse that we are not talking about at all? Of course, the Deputy Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis, he does become a very strong candidate to be Chief Minister of Maharashtra once again with BJP's stellar performance. Look at the strike rate of the Bharatiya Janata Party, 85% plus. The Mahayuti has said all the three parties, they will now sit together. They will decide on their leaders, and then there would be consultation on who would be the chief minister and who would be the deputy chief ministers. They, of course, slammed Mahavikas Agadi politics. They said they were fighting on who would be chief minister even before winning elections. Here, there is a problem of plenty, but that is after winning the elections. And we'll be tracking that story very, very closely. That is all I have for you on this special broadcast. Many thanks for watching. One thing is very clear. The voters of India have spoken, and spoken very decisively.